So we've got another review video here for another SpeedyBee product. This here is the SpeedyBee F405 60 amp stack. This was sent to me by SpeedyBee. I didn't pay for it, but they're not going to be watching the video ahead of time. All the standard stuff. These are all of my own thoughts, and they don't get any say in what I post. So here we go. All right. So opening up this box, we've got the standard SpeedyBee manual app download QR code right at the front. And then we have the two different circuit boards that it comes with. So like I said, this is a 60 amp output board, which you can see labeled quite cleanly on the front there on that huge heatsink up on the top. You can see how thick that heatsink is. There we go. Kind of see it's almost as thick as the board itself. Actually, I'd say it's a little thicker. So SpeedyBee made this F405 flight controller with the intent of it being able to power up to 8 motor quads. So you can do your X8s or Y8 quads for big Cinelifter type stuff. Personally, I don't have anything like that. I'm going to be building it onto the SpeedyBee Mario 5 frame, which I have right here, which I will probably be doing a review video on later. But for right now, we'll talk about the flight stack that I have here from SpeedyBee. So this stack comes in at $75.99, about $85 after tax and shipping, which is a pretty good price for what you're getting. Actually, it's a really good price. So on the main board here, since it is SpeedyBee, as always, these are fully Bluetooth compatible. You can hook them up to your phone, which is great because then you can make changes to your settings while you're out in the field. You don't have to bring a laptop. It does have, if you flip it over, it does have a SD card slot for a micro SD. This can hold up to 4 gigabytes, which I learned the hard way the first time that I set one of these up. You can only do up to 4 gigabyte of micro SD card. And that'll allow you to do black box recording, which is awesome. It does have a USB-C connector here, so you can connect that to your computer, get all your normal Betaflight configurations through that. Tons and tons of solder pads for different UARTs, top and bottom. Let's see if my camera will focus that close. Maybe not. There we go. Flipping it over, we've got down here the DJI plug and play. This will work for your O3, your Lynx, your Vistas, all those will all connect in right there with that port. So you don't have to worry about soldering anything else on. Now I said earlier this was made for 8 motor drones, and you may be thinking, well, how can you do 8 motors? There's only the standard 4 sets of 3 pads on the ESC. Well, actually, on the flight control board, come on camera, work with me here. There we go. On the flight control board, these bottom pads right here, they're labeled M5, M6, M7, and M8, which I don't think we're gonna be able to get on camera, but you can find it on the website showing that. Yeah, right there. Those pads are your motors 5 through 8 plug-in ports. And then if you flip it over, you've got down here motors 1 through 4. Ground and power on the bottom. So that's kind of cool. With the ESC that they have here, they've got really, really large solder pads for your battery leads, which I appreciate. It makes it much more beginner friendly. A lot easier to solder onto this than some of their smaller boards. They also have a little hole punched in, which is great for putting in a capacitor. And all of the pads are solderable on the side and the bottom, which is awesome because again, it just gives more versatility and less likelihood of burning out a pad. Same with all the motor pads available on the side and a little bit on the bottom, not a ton. Obviously they need to make room for the ESC chips there. This connector here is to connect the two boards. Now on the website, it does make it very clear that you need to set up these stacks, this stack in the right order. So you want to have the ESC on the bottom and then put the flight controller on top. And that'll make sure that you don't have any clearance issues between the two. If you flip them and you put the ESC on the top, you'll see things can kind of touch right in there and you'll short out your board. So want to make sure you don't do that. They do come pre-installed with the standard soft yellow gummies, which I appreciate. It's not too hard to install them if you need to, but I like that they come pre-installed, so it's just one less thing that you have to worry about. Now, SpeedyBee had an issue one generation back with these boards where the micro SD card reader wasn't working with all micro SD cards. They have fixed that. So if that's a point of hesitation, that is something that they have fixed here, and that's easier to work with. They've got 4 slots on the sides, on the corners of the flight controller where you can put LED strips, which I think is really cool. I had a drone that I put LED strips on. Sadly, I crashed that drone, so it's not exactly flying anymore, but that was kind of cool to be able to put LED boards on there really easily, and then you can configure that all through Betaflight. Another really cool feature that they have along this edge of the flight controller are 4 little LEDs, and those LEDs are actually a battery indicator. So if all 4 of them are lit up, then your battery's at about full charge. If only 2 of them are lit up, you're about half charge. So if you don't have a LiPo checker, you can use this. Honestly, I think you should bring a LiPo checker in your drone bag, but if you don't have one or it breaks or whatever, you can kind of use your drone to know where you're at with your voltage. So let's see what's in the rest of the box. Got the standard quality certificate and then the accessories bin. Let's pop that open. Got a nice XT60 cable all set and ready to be connected. I like that they have this little cover joining here. It just makes it a little bit more rigid, more sturdy. The wires are pre-tinned, so those are just ready to get soldered on. You've got some cabling. These are going to be your DJI plug-in, as well as the smaller ribbon cable here is the one that joins the 2 boards together on this back plug there. And we've got a pack of the standard peripheral stuff. You've got some washers, some rubber grommets, which are great to just make sure that your boards don't touch the bottom of your quad. Obviously, if you touch the circuit board to the carbon, you will short out your boards because carbon is electrically conductive. So you want to make sure that you avoid that. Oh, excuse me, I'm hiccuping. It comes with a 1000 microfarad 35 volt capacitor, which is a huge capacitor and will be more than what you need. It's also got some heat shrink, which is cool, so you can just throw that over the leads of the capacitor. If you don't know, capacitors are always going to have a short lead and a long lead, which you can kind of see there. Maybe block some of the glare, there we go. So the short lead is going to be your negative, the long lead is going to be your positive, and if you ever need a reminder, or if one gets cut to, if they get cut to the same length, capacitors will always have one stripe going all the way down the side with these 2 little kind of dash marks. That's also your negative. Here we've got some stack screws. I love that they send you with 5, not 4, because you only need 4, but in case you drop one, they send you with an extra, which is great. And then 1 extra gummy and 5 nylon nuts. So again, they're not steel nuts, so you won't have any issues with conductivity there. So yeah, that's all that comes in the box. See if there was anything else that I'm missing out here. They've got some upgraded gyroscope stuff on it, as well as some upgraded electrical components to theoretically give it better RPM filtering and electrical filtering, which I can't say I know all that much about, but they say it's important. I would assume that does affect the flight characteristics a little bit. If you look on the bottom, the website talks about this big capacitor here that they have put in, which helps with crash like voltage spikes, and other such things like plugging in the battery. Oftentimes you can get that like kind of spark right when you plug in a battery, so that helps with that a lot. Some things I'm not a huge fan of with this: while the heatsink is awesome, it does mean that you get much better cooling, you're less likely to burn out your ESC. It also means you can't really do as clean of a build. What a lot of people like doing is routing their motor wires around the stack posts and then soldering from the inside. And that can make a really clean look where you get all your wires kind of coming in these little arcs, and you don't have all your wires sticking onto the side of the drone. With this heatsink, it's a lot harder to set up your motors to wire in that way, just because you kind of have to go over this, and you have to make sure that the heat shielding on the motor wires doesn't touch this top plate. So it's something to consider if you're planning on doing a super clean build. This might not be the component for you. I'm not sure if you can take off the heatsink. I would assume that you can, but I'm not gonna try. So if you want to, go right ahead and let me know in the comments if it actually does come off, but I would rather not find out the hard way. So let me know. I would be curious on that one. So overall, I think this is a pretty great product, given the fact that it's under 80 bucks listed on the website is awesome. Obviously, you can get fancier boards with better ESC components, higher voltage regulation and all that, but for 80 bucks, it's pretty great. It does have a fairly available boot button right here. If the camera wants to focus, there we go. Got your boot button right there, and you can also control the LEDs with that. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you need any help with wiring things and figuring out where to put all of your different components on these UARTs down here, just go take a look on their website. They've got plenty of guides on where do you hook up your VTX, how do you hook up your receiver, your camera, all that kind of stuff. That's all available on the website, which is awesome. I do appreciate that SpeedyBee gives a lot of information on how to set up their products rather than just how to, use them in their own ecosystem. Yeah. Alrighty, I think that's about it. I'm going to start working on getting this set up on the SpeedyBee Mario 5 frame, which again, I'll film a video about this one in the coming week or so, and we'll get that flying. Hopefully I can go flying this weekend and get something recorded. It might be a bit chilly though, so not sure yet. I will be setting this up with a digital system, going with the DJI O3. I have two other 5-inch quads that are both set up for analog, so I want to build my first digital 5-inch freestyle quad. So we'll see how this goes. Alrighty. I haven't said it before, but make sure to like the video, comment if you have any positive or negative comments, whatever. Feel free to subscribe. I'll continue putting out more videos as I find things that are exciting for me. I'm not really wanting to make videos that are not exciting, so I'll just keep on making what I feel is interesting, hence the SpeedyBee Mario 5 frame, because it's actually a really cool frame and I'm excited to talk about it. And I've got these motors from SpeedyBee as well that we'll be putting on here, and I'm really excited to try out these motors. They look really cool, and they're more expensive than I generally spend on motors, so hopefully they're good. Alrighty, that is all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.